Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Labtainer Lab. In this lab today we're gonna use SQL injection, how to use it, and try to know how to do the secure coding for your PHP language. PHP is one of the backbone of the database, so we're gonna learn that too. For this one, we're gonna use Labtainer. This is my Labtainer machine running in the VMware workstation. I'm gonna start the lab, and we after I start the lab, they're gonna give us a lab manual. We're gonna follow this lab manual and try to see how to use the SQL injection in here. So to start in the lab, we're gonna say lab trainer SQL inject. Then it might be okay. So it asks for my name. I'm just it starts from email address. You can use your email address or you can put your email name. I'm gonna use my name here. So this I know the lab trainer. You already know what the lab trainer is. So for make sure everyone knows, the lab trainer they give you a closed environment where you can they give you the um, both server and the user experience in the same environment. So it's easy to use to practice and learn. Okay, so my two is open. One is for the three things is open. Okay, good. So one is my client and one is my server. For the server is actually from the server of all the website that's running from this server machine. So if I go in the server, I can see something. I don't need that. Okay, so uh, this is my server, and the client one is actually for exploit vulnerable. Like you're the only you gonna use the client to exploit the vulnerable machine, right? To check the vulnerability. Okay. So if I in the also there's also one Mozilla Firefox website is open up. It's called the sql-injection.com where I don't know the user ID and the password. So our job is to figure out how do I get inside this website, right? So well now I can minimize this machine. I want to know what is inside of the web server. The user SQL. Nice. What about that here? There's nothing there. That is okay. Good. Right. So in my first lab trainer, they gave us a lab manual. Right. So we're gonna follow the lab manual. Is it there? So this is the PDF. We're gonna work on it. So the SQL injection is a code injection technique that exploits the vulnerabilities in the inject between the web application and the database server. This is a good explanation what is the SQL injection is, and the vulnerability present are the user input not correctly checked in the web application before sent back to the database server. Okay, so yeah, and brief of the PHP, I want to cover the very basics to know the background of the C plus Java. I'm going to learn this quickly. Okay, yeah, and SQL injection, brief SQL injection setup. So we already set up the SQL injection here. The first on the lab tags we have to create host is www.seedlabsqlinjection.com. The web application is simply employee management application. Employees can view and update their personal information database through this web server or application. There are many two roles in the web application. Administrator is the privileged role. It can detect and create your profile, blah blah, which is good. Okay, our first start from there, and also there is some user admin Alice, Bob, Ryan, Sammy, and Ted. Okay, great. The first one, my SQL console. So the observation attacks the family to SQL command by using the provide database. We have to create a database called user, which contains a table called the credential. The table stored the personal information, password, social security number, blah blah blah. Every employee, every change the profile. Database MySQL is open source. Okay, so we have to MySQL is open source related database system management. We have already set up the MySQL in the server component. The username is root and the password is the CD Ubuntu, right? That's good. So please log into the MySQL in the server to store the member following command. Okay, okay, nice. So we're gonna log in. So we don't need that anymore in here. So in here we're gonna type my SQL then dash u means username is root, and the password is seed ubuntu, right? Seed ubuntu. Okay, so now I'm in, if you see there's a MySQL, so I'm already in the MySQL server, right? So now now we have to load the what we have to do. After login, you can new database, load an existing one, or user create a user login command. User and database for you. You just need to load the existing database using the following command. So we're gonna load a existing database. How? We're gonna simply say use users. Make sure it's capital letters. I saw this is very case sensitive, and also you have to put semicolon after that. So my database has reading the information table and the column name. You can read quickly. Okay, so if I say show tables, then semicolon. My table says I guess is ready, right? One more thing is not in this lab, I guess, but it's better to know if you see the actual things so it's in the database. So this print out all the tables that selected database, right? So that is the two things, tables in the user and the credit, all the credential. So if you actually want to see this one, you can simply say select, then star the from credential, then semicolon. If you press, you see the all the things in here, the name, even employee ID, salary, date of birth, social security number, phone number, address, email address, nickname is empty, but there's a password. The make sure the password, we need this one for the letter, but make sure the password is very important here. Okay. So, so the SQL injection attack of the select statement. The SQL injection basically technique through which attacker can execute their own malicious SQL statement, generally referred in malicious payload. Through this malicious SQL statement, attacker can steal information um, from the victim database, even or they can make changes in the database, blah blah, which means take the developer. Okay, so this is our the website, and the website is hosting from implement to our web application the PHP called answer creator of PHP located in this side directory. We can either authenticate and following the code. Uh, how do you follow code snippet? How user to authenticate? Okay, so the basically in here the website is hosting. If I go over there, can I copy this one? Okay, I can copy. Um, okay, so how about I can exit for now and see. Okay, so now I'm exit. I'm clear this screen. Then we're gonna go cd. Oh, is it working? No. Yes. Okay. Nice. Okay, I'm also inside there. Okay, so the website is hosting from the unsafe credential.php from this one. I mean, they're gonna try to. These are login from this website. If I try to can and see what is inside of it, unsafe credential.php. Okay, those are the code, the whole things written in PHP languages. So if we look at it here, I guess they already tell us what's the problem in this code in the lab. That's right. From here, right? Let's start making changes. Okay. Select ID. Name. Okay. Changing code. The above code is employee such as username. Okay. So this is the problem, right? The actual problem is here. So what is the problem? We have to make sure we know those stuff before we go through. So, okay. So the above SQL command select personal and employee information such as ID, name, salary, social security, and etc. from the credential table. The variable input EID and the input PWD hold the string typed by the user login pages. Basically, the program checked whether any record matches with the employee ID and the password. If there is a match, the user is successfully authenticated and they give you the corresponding employee information. If there is no match, the authentication fail. That means it's looking for the one-to-one. Like if it's true, then log in. If it's not true, don't log in. Right? So SQL Injection attacker from the website. It actually to log into the website as the administrator from the login pages so you can see the information. of all the employees, and assume that you don't know the administrator account name. Okay, so we don't know the username, not even the administrator, but we have to log in the system. How do I? This is the challenging part, right? How do I log in this website without knowing the credential? I found it a nice documentation. I'm gonna add it in this description too. So those from the Invisity. Um, Bypassing the login screen. How do I bypass the login screen? There's a lot of way you can do. You can say single code or one is equal to one pound sign. We're gonna use all of them to make sure we are still logged in. So we can try any of them to see if everything matches, right? I can leave it from here from now and try to log in as a single code. Start with a single code, then you have to press or one is equal to one. That means if one is equal to one is true, we can log in the system, right? That's how the code is written. So, and also you have to close with the pound sign. Okay. Enter. Okay, nice, beautiful. We log in the system. But if you look at there, they ask for to log in as an administrator account name, which is admin, but we use as an Alice one. I think the Alice one is the first one. That's why it's logged in as Alice. If I want to make sure, we can go and server. Yeah, Alice was the first one. That's why one is equal to one. That's why you log in as Alice. So try in a different method to log in as the administrator user. How do I? How can I go as an administrator? So we're gonna use the same thing, same stuff like single quote or then in this tag we're gonna use the name. Make sure the name is capital letter. Then inside there is the admin profile, right? So the admin should be inside the single quote. So single quote admin and everything you have to stand and with the pound. The pound means like whatever the everything next to it is gonna skip it. So after pound it's gonna skip the password and all the stuff. So if you don't use the pound sign, that means you have to write the password, right? So pound means ignore everything the next, right? So if I press enter, make sure, okay, now good. So you can use as a login admin. So you see that all the profiles, Alice one, Bob's, Ryan's, Sammy, Ted, and also the admin one, which has their salary, social security. Oh, Sammy makes more than the admin one, right? Oh no, 40. Yeah, right? That's cool. Okay, that's good. So we already logged in the system. Same things in here. SQL injection attack from the comment line. Now, this is we have a good GUI interface, but normally we don't have the GUI interface, graphical user interface. So we have to use the comment line and we have to use the terminal base to attack. How do you use that? This is our task 2.2. The SQL injection attack from the command line, it does it to repeat 2.1 to the differential client virtual machine. So you have to use the client, so you cannot use the main web server website. Think about an attacker. The attacker can how they use the terminal to attack those stuff. All right. So how do I attack those stuff, right? Before I use that, I have to know some basic HTML encoding stuff. So that's gonna help you to understand what is going on inside of it, right? So if I open up a Mozilla Firefox, I guess, yep. And if I say HTML um, encoding, I guess, and encode, yep, encode, sorry. Yep, I'm not a robot. Let's see. I hate those stuff, but yeah, that's what I can do. Then if I had one left, no. I'm going to the W3 school pages. Maybe I can find something interesting. Yep, everything is there. So that means if you see that in the URL there's some URL shouldn't be have any space on special character. They use the encoding stuff. Is I guess is for some reason. I don't know why. JavaScript string. Uh, I think it's a good recommendation. You can read it. I don't know. So maybe the ASCII character set, yeah. And why they use it. Search on your own and make sure you know understand everything. So I can give you some special things like the space. So you need some because you know when you log in as this one and the Alice one, make sure you see something like the admin, you have a space, right? Or after or in the space. So we definitely need some space values in here. So for the space, we're gonna use percentage 20, single quote. We use single quotes, which is at percentage 27. Then we use something, I guess, equal signs, percentage 3D. Then, yeah, do you use anything else? I don't think so. Maybe, oh, no, we didn't use it for the login. Yeah, we're gonna use it like later on. We're gonna try to log in from the command line, right? So we might need it. So how do I log in? Always HTML car. We have to use the car language car. What is car? It shows in here. You can command line tools within the client virtual machine. You don't need to do the web pages within the client virtual machine. You can use the command line tools such as the car, which send the HTTP request. So if I use the car, you're gonna send our HTTP request, right? So how? So it's a car. Then in the single code, we're gonna start and close with the single code, right? Inside the single code, we have to type HTTP, right? Then semicolon, double dash. This is it's not secure website, I guess, right? It's HTTP. It's HTTP. Then was the website name? Seed. I'm gonna open up this PDF. Okay. Seed Lab SQL Injection .com, right? Slash. We know that the website is hosting in the unsafe credential. So unsafe underscore CRE credential dot PHP. Then you have to put this question mark after you log in. Then EID, the employee ID, we're looking for the admin, right? So EID, if you look at here, this is employee ID. I know the employee ID is save and EID. If you look at there, the employee ID, those are the employee ID, right? So you're gonna log in as employee ID, which is single quote. I know the single quote used as percentage 27, so I'm going to use the same things in here, percentage 27. Then I press a plus sign, then I press or, right? Then what did we used? Or then plus, right? Then what did we use? We use the name values, right? So you can say name. Then we use equal sign. Equal sign is the percentage 3 3D, right? D should be capital letter. Make sure it's 3D. Name was after the sorry. Name equals sign, right? Name equals sign, equals sign, equals sign, right? Equals sign. There should be equals. Yeah, percentage 3D for the equal sign. Then after the equal sign, it was space, right? Um, so space 27. It's not even a space, it's a single code, right? The single code equals sign the single code with the admin value. So I can press admin is capital letter, then close the single quote. So closing single quote should be 7. Then my um we can check it here. Admin, then we have to add sign. There's we have to add, then the pound sign, right? The pound sign before you use the pound sign, we have to say if you go in here, 20, the pound sign value is 23. So we're gonna use space 23. Then we're gonna use password, right? There's a password section, I know. After that, there's a password section which is gonna be ignored anyway, right? Then equal sign, then equal, and the single code. The single code is starting from this single code is start from here, right? You see that we don't use any single code inside the URL. So the URL, we can go back again. The HTTP semicolon, then back forward slash sql-injection.com. We know the website is hosted from the unset credential.php. Then EID, just follow this one. The EID, it should be the space, EID sorry, is equal to uh, EID is equal to, I guess, right? So missing an equal sign here. EID equal, then 20 space 27. Yeah, okay, equal the UID is equal to 27. This is in a single quote, then or space name, then 3D means equal sign, the single quote, then add in the single quote as admin values, then we plus 23. 23 is a pound sign, then password is equal to the password, whatever the equal sign is going to be ignored, right? So let's see, we can log in. We can log in as admin from the terminal. Okay, nice, right? We see the same values, the HTML and the bulb login, and we see that all the user, employee ID, credential, and everything out there, right? So our lab 2.2 is done. So now we're gonna append a new SQL statement. In the above two attack, we can only steal information from the database. It's better to modify database using the same vulnerability as the login pages, and ideal to be used the SQL injection attack to turn one SQL statement into two within the second being updated on the delay statement. In the SQL semicolon used to separate two SQL statement. Please describe how you can log in pages get the server request. Okay, this is nice. So we have to use two um, in the SQL used to separate two statements. So you can use the two separate statement. Now let's see the information to modify database. The items the description of the okay. And the observation. Okay. Can we use two can we use two command separate two SQL? Please describe how do you log in server two SQL statement, try to attack a delete record from the database and describe the observation. Okay, so we have to use the two SQL statement and see if it works or not, right? Um, okay, how do I use that? So I know there's a username is called the Elise, so I'm gonna log in as Elise. And also when the user, you know the username, right? So you just put the username, but you have to start with the single quote, right? The single quote, then you use semicolon, because I'm gonna log in as a Elise, right? Then was my second SQL injection code. It should be, I can update something, right? I can do update credential maybe, right? Credential, update credential, what, let's see what I can do in here. What? I see there's no phone number, no address, email address, nickname. So maybe I can put any nickname for Alice, right? Um, okay, let's try to put a nickname for Alice. So the update credential, I'm gonna set nickname, set this for the like SQL, honey know the SQL stuff. So this command is so familiar to you. So I'm gonna recommend learn something basic SQL command. So that's gonna help you. Yeah, definitely need to know the SQL to exploit the SQL, right? So my nickname is you can put anything. I'm gonna put my name as Mufat. So the Alice nickname will be the Mufat. So and also you have to put anything that matches in our database. I know Alice has a social security number, salary, EID, name, ID or something. So you can put anything. I put where social security number is equal to a single code again 102110002, right, in the single quote done. Then I put a semicolon, then the pound sign is my pound sign trigger. You see I put the two statement, semicolon. Why? There's two statement, that's why it's two statement. So first one I'm gonna try to log in as an Alice, then I'm gonna update employee ID, or instead of that Alice I can employee ID, it's looking for the employee ID, right? So how about I can log in as 1000 employee ID was uh 10,000. Okay, so employee is 10,000 for Alice. Then I'm gonna update credential and set my nickname as, make sure the nickname should be in here, right? The nickname here. The set nickname should be whatever you put. I put move that, then wire social security number. You can put anything. You can put wire birth, then you can put a 9, 10, 20. You can use salary, then put salary the value, whatever the salary value. You have to know one of them to understand. So I'm gonna put the social security number in here. The social security number is 10211, and pound sign. The pound gonna ignore everything from there, right? So let's try get information. There is an error running the query. There's a SQL injection terminal corresponding to my SQL server using the control number page. So what we have to conclude in here. Try to delete or record or whatever. I try to update something. You can do a delete or something in the same command and describe your observation. So it's not possible because the SQL injection the SQL code is a little bit different. They don't, the PHP code, sorry, the PHP code is they updated or they try to be secure. Nobody can delete it, so we can't actually do it. But we can inject attack on the update statement. The tax 3, maybe you can do something, but tax 2.3, after the new SQL statement, we cannot use to SQL statement to log in and try to delete them, right? We cannot use that. Maybe there's some code inside which is secure. Um, how about tax 3? SQL injection attack on update statement. If an SQL injection vulnerability happens on an update statement, the damage will be more severe because attacks can use the vulnerability to modify database. In our employee management application, there's an edit page. In 2.2, employee can update their profile information. Okay, so in this website, which is hosting in the unsafe edit.php, if I think we have it already here. You see, unsafe. We went before we went to unsafe credential. Now there's also the one of PHP languages, PHP PHP code, unsafe edit.php. In here, the code is running. The code is actually doing is here is the user can modify several stuff like the nickname, the email address, phone numbers, addresses, and the password. They cannot change several things like they cannot change their salary, right? I don't think so. They can change their salary, and also there's something I guess. The password they can change. Email address they also can change. Nickname addresses. Okay, so in there they mention you whatever you can change, but they don't say you cannot change those stuff. So that's the vulnerability of the code. It says you can change the email address, password, phone number, and a lot of things, but they don't mention this. They should have to write it down. Hey, you cannot change your salary. You cannot change your employee ID, I guess, right? You cannot change your actual name in here. They should have to include in their code so it will make it more secure. But as they don't use it, so we can exploit, right? Okay, so how do I get exploit? So I can log off, I guess, and try to log in as an Alice, right? I know that Alice username is um um to log in as an Alice, I can say one is got one. So log in as an Alice, right? So after I log in the Alice, so what should I do? I know I have employee ID, those are unchangeable, my social security number and stuff. So let's try. You see, in here we don't have any option for the social security number and stuff and the salary, right? How do I change my salary? Let's try any kind of empty field. We can try to start with the single quote always, then single quote, then a you have to try semicolon, right? Not the semicolon, should be the comma, I guess, right? I want to make sure I'm in the right track. Yeah, I'm in the right track. Okay. comma, semicolon, single quote, then a comma. Okay, now I have to put salary. Salary, I'm gonna increase myself as a 60,000. How about 60,000, right? Before, make sure it should be the single, start single quote, then 60,000, right? So that means this single quote is the SQL injection for using SQL injection, then I gonna comma, and then my salary should be 60,000. And you see how I single quote started here and also started 60,000. It didn't close. I didn't close in here in anywhere. So let's try to press edit. You see, my salary is 60,000 now, even though I cannot change from here, right? I cannot change from here, but I update my here. You can do anything, like you can also change your social security number, salary. Before salary, make sure you press single quote, I guess. So yeah, single quote, then the salary or social security number or date of birth, whatever you want to change, right? So this is the good things we did, modify salary. We already modified the salary, and also they're gonna modify other people's username, other people's password. How do I use the password? And there's the things I told you before. The password is stored in a different format. You see the format is not a plain text. It is a SHA-1 format, right? You know the hash values. The normally the database don't save their user's password in a plain text because it might get hacked, so they use a hash values. So the hash value change every hash values will they have a specific one-way function. Is gonna change the values to the hash. It depends on how many bytes, and the SHA-1, I guess, once a 160 byte, I guess, right? SHA-1 hash is, yeah, 160 bytes, so 220 bytes, 20 bytes hash values on that function. Repeat the US, yeah, and the block size 512 bits. Okay, bytes, right? So this is definitely SHA-1, and also we hash converter, something hash converter, I guess. Yeah, we can convert any kind of hash values. You can see how the hash values work. So if I say this is MD5, we don't want to use MD5. Try this website. Is they gonna give us any contact now? Decode? No. There is a website, it's called CyberChef. Try this one. Maybe it's CyberChef. Uh, it's very helpful to using the hash value. Anything, any kind of things you can get the hash values. Yeah, this is the CyberChef. So if I say SHA hash or those are the hash values SHA-1. So this is my SHA-1, and I can put anything like my name, Mufat, right? So my Mufat is gonna SHA-1 is gonna be like this. So this is very helpful and very handy. CyberChef, you can use for anything hash values. So I'm gonna change someone's password from this one, right? What my update say? Okay, so I'm gonna log in as any of the employees' password and successfully user password. Okay, he said that you can change anyone username. There's a Ryan. Yeah, the third user is Ryan. So I'm gonna log in as Elise and try to change password for Ryan. Okay, how do I do this one? So same things, I'm gonna use a one-to-one as a login as a Alice one. So get information, I'm logging as Alice, and I'm gonna change the password for Ryan. I know the Ryan, I don't know the Ryan password is what, because it's save and hash values. And also you can from plain text you can get the hash values. But hash values you cannot get the plain text. It's a one-way function, so it's really tough. So how do I, so before I use that, I need a hash values for any kind of password I want to change, right? For in my client server, I'm gonna type something to give you hash values. Also, you can use the site CyberChef to get hash values, but I'm gonna use the client server. Okay, so now I'm gonna use a SHA-1 hash values for my any kind of password I want to in the plain text to the SHA-1 hash values as to store in the database as a SHA-1. So any kind of plain text I have to convert to the first to the SHA-1 values, right? So how do I do that? I can say echo for just to shows in here, right? Echo. Then uh, and then inside the code, single double code, I have to put any kind of password I want. So I want password for Ryan, I guess, RYAN, Ryan, right? Then close the single quote, and in the pipe, what I want a SHA-1 sum, right? So this is means like the password for Ryan, this is a plain text gonna convert in a SHA-1 sum, right? If I press enter, we see that they gave me as hash values. It's a pre-built Linux system, right? So any kind of hash values you can convert it from in your terminal. So also you can search in it online. I told you the cyber chef, I already did it. Password for Ryan, it give me the same SHA value. You see the SHA value, I mean the hash values is the same. So the plain text you can convert from the you can know the plain text to the SHA value will be the same. But when you have the hash values, you don't know how do you convert to the hash values to the plain text because it's a one-way function. It's really tough, right? But yeah, we can see these hash values matches. That means this is nice and beautiful, right? So now I have to use these hash values implemented as an alias to change my password for Ryan, right? How do I do that now? So I told you before I log in as a alias. Now I have to press the same things we did before, right? Single quote, then comma instead of the salary. I have to use password. Password is equal to. Then in the single quote, you have to put the hash values. What we have to put the hash values, right? Single quote. Then my hash values will be whatever we found from our terminal or converted uh, from plain text to SHA-1, and I close it as a single quote, right? Now, what did it do change? If I press edit now, it's gonna change my password. I don't want my password. I want to change the Ryan password. So we have to type where the user name, the name is equal to Ryan, right? Also, you have to make sure it's in the single quote Ryan, single quote, right? Then semicolon and the pound sign. Pound sign gonna ignore everything after that, right? So make sure is the correct one, single quote, then comma, then the password should be the our hash values, which is the hash value means password for Ryan. Then here my name should be Ryan. So if the username is correct, make sure that my RYN, Ryan, and then the single semicolon pound sign. Then I press enter. Nice, it's gonna do it. It's not gonna do anything. I'm gonna log off from now and try to log in as Ryan. I know the Ryan's employee ID is 30,000, right? 30,000 and the password. We already made the password, right? Password for Ryan. So you can say PASSWD, then 4 number, then Ryan R, capital letter YAN, Ryan. So let's try show password. You see the password for Ryan. We can successfully log in as a Ryan because we use the vulnerability of the PHP code, right? So 3000 times. So you don't have to save it. I'm gonna make sure I can log in as a Ryan. So we successfully did modify other people's password. So the text for the countermeasure prepaste statement. The fundamental of the SQL This is very important. I want to read it because this might help you in the future. The fundamental problem for the SQL injection vulnerability is the failure of the separate code from the data. While constructing the SQL statement, the program which knows the best or which part of the data and which part of the code. Unfortunately, when the SQL statement is sent to the database, the boundary has disappeared. Okay, the boundary that the SQL interpreter sees the different from the original boundaries that was sent by the developer. Okay. To solve this problem, it is important to ensure the view of the boundaries are constant to the server-side code in the database. The most secure way is use the prepared statement. Prepared statement. Okay. So execution is gonna first. Okay. To answer the prepared statement, the SQL we need to understand what happened. The SQL server received a query. The high level workflow to how queries are executed is shown in figure 3. The complication step, the queries first go through the normalization phrases while the query check against themselves on semantics. The next phrase is the complications phrase or the keyword. Select from update. Yeah, we know those from the SQL language, right? Accompanied the formal understand of the machine. Basically, this is the phrase query is interpreted. In the query optimizer phrase, the number of the different plans are considered to execute the query out of the which the best optimized plan is chosen. The chosen plan is stored the cache. So whatever the next query comes in, it will be checked again. The content of the cache, then one of the phrases, welcome chance A. Oh, okay. How here is an example of how to write a prepared statement in the PHP. We use select statement in the following example. We show how to use the statement to rewrite the code in the vulnerability SQL injection attack. Okay, so we see this code was before, right? In the unsecure SQL, I guess. Yes, in the it is in where unsafe credential. You see the unsafe credential, the code is written and SQL's name, ID, source security, phone number, password, credential, where input EID and the password input EID. If result is equal to the con equal to SQL, it dies. So that means if it is true, it goes like try to give us log in, right? From here, we have to use what we have prepared the local gender from the user tables and where ID is equal to the password, whatever, the blind parameter to the query, blind parameter ID password, execution, blind name. So if you use this PHP code instead of using those, it also says start the maintain the prepare statement. So if I start from here to here to here, if I change to this, normally it should be the more secure and we can't use any kind of password from the user. I mean, we cannot use any more one is equal to one or something, right? So let's try if we can use it or not. So make sure this is unset credential, right? This is the PHP code, yeah, unset credential. So make sure. Yep. Yep, unset credential. Instead of, I'm gonna clear the screen first. Now, uh, instead of the unscat, I'm gonna use nano. You can someone's like a VM, a Vim, whatever you like. I prefer nano, so I press enter, and if I go there, I see here the problem in my code. I have to fix this code. Okay. I'm gonna make it forward to you guys. Okay, so this is our updated code. We're gonna modify from this to this. Now we have to exit from the nano. How do I exit? It says from Control X. Control X. Do you wanna modify buffer? Of course, yes. Y. Press Y. Then name file separation the same name. Yes, press enter. It's set, right? Make sure you use the same command cat on credential and make sure this is updated. I think it should be updated. Yep, this is my new command line, right? So if it's good, now we can try uh, log in as an Alice or the any kind of admin activity, right? So if I put get information, you see this is not working anymore. It's trying to buffer. I mean, it's trying to load and it's stopped before we can successfully log in. Now we can. That means we successfully changed our code to update the SQL statement. Sending the SQL statement based on two steps. The first is only send the code part, without the actual data. In the previous step, as we see the above the code snippet, the actual data is replaced with the question mark. After the step, we send the data to the user using the blind param database. Will treat everything stepped, not in the code anymore. It is a blind. You can you definitely can see how the code is works. I'm not good at the PHP languages, so it's good to practice what is going inside, how it works. Is gonna help you a lot, and also there's some guideline you can also follow those stuff. But for this one, our lab is finished. We can successfully stop the lab because we make our course secure and stuff, so we don't need any more. To stop the lab, we have to go to the main terminal, and you can simply say stop lab, stop lab. Just stop lab, we're gonna stop everything, I guess. Right? Hopefully, hopefully. Yeah, let's stop everything. So in the comment section, I'm gonna send you the comment section. I'm definitely gonna send you some links, which is CyberChef, the hash values modifier, and the W3 School HTML encoding, and also if I found anything interesting to learning SQL injection sheet, I'm gonna definitely add it over there, which is really helps, I guess. Thanks for stay with us. Thank you. See you for the next videos.